You look at the whole game, and when you go on the road, I mean, right now you're playing ranked teams, you're playing playoff teams. You got to be ready to play, and the job. I think we all reflect back, saying, job of a head coach, I got to have them ready to play. I thought we did in our preparation. It's that 6 inches between your ears that's the most important. Knowing that we're walking into a buzzsaw, they were ready. They were executing a lot better than us. They were fitting their gaps a lot faster than we were. And, those are the things that we got to correct. We got to look in the mirror. Coaches, starts with me, starts with our coaches, and are we asking our players can they do what we are asking them to do is number one. But again, appreciate, love our guys. They're going to come out, and they came out in the second half. We didn't play a great first half, came out in second half, tried to battle back, but still made some critical mistakes that we just got to clean up. Jumping off sides in that field goal really changed the momentum if you're in that arena at that time. You hold them, to 3 points, and it's a 2-possession football game. We feel good about offense, and, nobody wants to make that penalty, but that's the areas we need to continue to improve upon. And, we're on the practice field today, and, if you have bad habits or you have bad eyes on Tuesday, you're going to have bad eyes on Saturday. If you can't thud up the ball, it's going to be hard to make tackles when you get to Saturday. So it comes to our preparation. We own it. We didn't play good, and we own it. I own it as a head coach. We own it together, that we got to get a lot better.
How disappointing is that, Doug, that you're 6 weeks into the season and you're making not you, but the team's making this well?
Always, it's a process. Each week, they probably had some mental mistakes there in the second half of that football game, UND, as well as they played in the first half. Just like the game before, we play a great first half, and then we have mental mistakes in the second half. They have mental mistakes. Mistakes are going to happen. I don't think there's a perfect team out there, Dana, that, mistakes are going to happen. We coach 18 to 22, sometimes 23-year-olds. The effort's got to be there. We got to correct those mistakes. You got to look in the mirror and see, are those mistakes happening on Tuesday, Wednesday in practice? And if they're happening on Tuesday and Wednesday, they're not going to change. A light just doesn't come on. And sometimes we got to coach better. We got to get our guys better prepared to be able to execute what we're asking them to execute, whether it's on special teams, whether it's on offense, whether it's on defense. Our kids work hard. It means a lot to them. I know the disappointment that they felt, disappointment we felt, that, we did not represent, Youngstown in a way that we want to represent Youngstown on the road. And, that comes to us of getting back to the field. The great thing about football is you get the opportunity to go play again. Just like in the game, you might get knocked down. You got to get back up. You don't win every play. Sometimes they win the play and you got to respond. And that's life. It's not what happens to you. It's how you respond. So, the exciting part is for us, I want to see how our kids respond. We've gone through 2 weeks of, not playing 4 quarters of football, 60 minutes of football, which is critical. And again, in the game of football, why I think it's the greatest game out there, it takes 11 guys on one play. 11 guys, not 10. 10 could be perfect, and one guy makes a mistake, it could expose you. And those are the things that we're going to continue to work on. And, and we got to be ready. We got to play a heck of a lot better this Saturday in Normal, Illinois at 2 or 5 p.m.
Offensively, you guys talk about needing to be able to finish drives.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the slow start offensively, but there were 2 or 3 possessions where you guys turned the ball over down in opposing territory, and then obviously the drives that ended in a field goal. What do you kind of attribute those struggles?
It comes down to, red zone. Did we have the right scheme? Did we have the right play call? Did we execute? Did we miss a read? It comes down to that. It's a 4 to 6 second play, and things happen fast. I think the one red zone play, we missed our number 2 read that was wide open in the back of the end zone, and we throw it wide. And, we don't want to miss that read, but, that's where the execution comes down to. So, for us, you got to be a lot better. You can't be 2 of 5 in the red zone, because you add that up, that's either at a minimum 12 points, or at a maximum 21 points. And that's the difference in a ball game. And then you look at third down, which we've been good on third down. We weren't Saturday. Give them credit. They obviously did something that affected us in how we execute. So, we got to get back to what we do and be successful. I think we're 2 of 5 on fourth down, and we've been good on fourth down. And again, give them credit for, you know, devising and being able to stop us. But those are the areas when you go into games and you're playing teams, they played like the 12th ranked team in the country, and we're going to go play another top 10 team. We got to raise our level of play.
Heading to Illinois State, obviously, this is the midway point. You're 3-3, so how critical is?
Oh, they're all critical now, and that's the realness of it. In our league, you fall behind 0-2. Guess what? We own it. We put ourselves there. Now we got to fight. We got to bite, scratch, whatever it takes to get back out. And we've been before in a spot like this, and our kids responded in a positive way. Our guys know that the rest of the year you just have no leeway for failure. For us to we work hard, work all year to do one thing, and that's playoffs. That's having the opportunity to play in December. And when you start off 0-2, you've dug yourself a hole, and the only way to get out is to keep climbing and keep working and stay together. And whatever comes out from that locker room this week, Normal, Illinois, we got to be ready to play football for 60 plus minutes.
Obviously, the deep ball has been something that you guys have been trying to hit and find
Yeah.
with this year. In the second half, you guys found a couple of those. Obviously, the 50-yarder, the flash, and then the post, the flash for the touchdown that came after that. What was the difference there that you felt like you guys were able to kind of hit those as opposed to?
We've been working on it, and that's timing. When you look at receivers, you look at them, their quarterback, Rittenhouse and Sobkowitz. I mean, they've been playing together for a long time. Those guys are on the same page. Probably Bo and Max is the same way. And then you got new receivers, which everyone runs a different route. Everyone is a different speed. So just working on the timing. So, yeah, that was positive to see us hit flash in stride. He made a great catch on that first one going up with two hands with two guys there. And the second one, he has the speed to get behind the secondary. And we know our quarterback has the arm to get it beyond. So, it was great to see. We've been working hard on that ever since spring. And to start to see that come to fruition, is a positive thing for our offense.
Did you guys feel like that was something that Flash could really bring to this offense when you guys kind of brought him in the offseason, being able to get that ball over the top?
Yeah, he can do so much. He can run from the backfield. He can, hit the hitches, the bubbles. But we also knew he could be a deep threat. And they all want to be deep threats. Even Max, wants to be able to go deep. And we still feel we still have some other guys on the roster that we just haven't hit that timing. And I think as the season progresses, you'll see some other guys, doing the same thing as Flash.
The defense has given up 35 points the last 2 games. What's the concern?
Consistency. You can't play a half of good football. You can't play 3 quarters out of 4. Where you're stopping a team, and then all of a sudden, and that comes down to, just like I said, it takes 11 players on every series, on every play to be successful, especially defense. Teams are going to test you. They're going to test your fundamentals. They're going to test your discipline, your eye discipline. Okay. And this young man likes to make a lot of tackles. We're going to test him with play action and try to get a tight end beyond him. Well, guess what? We got to get back to work. We got to be better there and making sure that our eyes are in the right place on every given down. You look at fitting our gaps. You fit one misgap. And the thing about Illinois State, they're going to test you because they're going to run the ball with big running backs, big offensive line. They got a running quarterback. They're going to run their mid-zone, zone reads. They're going to move the pocket with their quarterback. He can run it. He can scramble. So again, it will test you this week in being gap sound. When you look at the gaps in football and how important those gaps are, if you see something going vertical, somebody's not in their gap. And again, you might have 10 that are, and it's the one that isn't, and it really hurts you. So those are the areas, we got to clean up, and it comes with making a commitment to each other to play sound fundamental football, gap football, and be able to do that for 4 quarters. And that's what we work on each and every day. I've seen signs of it. I still believe in our young men. I believe, we're a good football team. We got the pieces, the chess pieces, should I say. We just got to put them all in the right position, and that's our job as coaches, to make sure we put our guys in the right position so that they can be successful.
Right now, is he like 45 years old?
Who's that?
Quarterback.
He's been there, yeah. I mean, he's a great quarterback. I still, I feel like we've gone against him since I've been here. But, they do a great job, offensively and then defensively. Coach Back's a defensive guy, and, they play hard, tough-nosed, big guys up front, big linebackers. I mean, the lightest linebacker out of the 4 is probably 230 pounds. So they're big, they're physical, and then they've done a great job of bringing in some physical corners that really want to get hands on, that really can do great in coverage. So, again, they're a great football team. Reason why they went to the playoffs last year, a reason why they're ranked in the top 10. So I give them credit, and our job each and every week is we aspire to get there. And every week we get a new opportunity, and, we got to, like I said, play great football when it comes to Saturday.